Awesome. All right, so good morning. You guys made it. You guys remembered there was a Thursday instead of a Wednesday, so that's impressive. You guys get the gold stars. Remember to hand those out at the end of the day.
We were organized.
Yes, you were. See, you did your Sunday night ritual, and you wrote Thursday morning in already, and all that kind of stuff. So you had it all mapped out, didn't you, Chuck? I can see it. I can just envision you sitting there at your pristine, clean desk on Sunday night with a cup of rooibos tea. All right. Or actually, Sunday night it's a glass of sherry. I'm sure it's the way the Lord's run. not you, Sherry. A glass of the drink sherry to get done. All right. How many of you guys have been on? I know Chuck has, and Pam, you jumped on. And Danielle, you weren't there last time, but the conference call, the conference call. Right. Randy was there. Perfect. We kind of cover a lot of stuff there, but are there any things popping up? Did you end up having one this weekend, your open house? You were talking about that, right? Weren't you?
I had the one on 22nd that was full.
That's right.
And I think I was the one who mentioned the husband guy a while ago.
Jim Hurley, actually.
Jim Hurley.
Yep.
I called that guy 6 times.
Yep.
I tried texting him.
Yeah, nothing.
Came back, said,
Okay. Reach out to Jim Hurley and just say, hey, Jim, because I don't think Jim even asks anymore. He just does it. Because seriously, the guy just gave him full reign and said, go for it one time. All right, and so Jim has done it, and he's never had, the guy said, yeah, anytime. Reach out to Jim Hurley and just see. You know what I mean? And if Jim's doing it that way, I'm cool with you doing it that way. It's always easier to ask for forgiveness and permission. Sometimes, especially with Hubzu, I think that guy's just so slammed, doesn't know what to do with himself. Yeah. Yeah, 400 listings will do that to you. All right, let me turn you prematurely gray and just get things nasty in a hurry. So
last night I wrote out a little card for him.
Oh, perfect.
Where his home address.
Awesome. You know where his home address?
Yeah, he lives in Winter Park.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Perfect. Perfect. Good thought. Absolutely, give it a shot and see if that works. See if the power of the power note works beyond that. So. Correct. So you can't. So just.
You're spending money even though you don't even know if you get.
Right.
I tell my buyers that ahead of time. I don't even send any homes.
And I don't blame you. It's just that he's just looking for a source for. And Jim doesn't. Jim has never sold a Hubzu home, but he sits open houses all the time. So that's he just it's a good source for it. But I agree with you that stuff can be. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
So that I can release my say, this is what you get with an auction, 5% buyers, and they will do the owner policy type insurance a lot of times, blah, blah, blah. You may not be able to auction houses, but it's something like, okay, I do not auction.
Yeah, good. All right, and.
Right from the thing, Gary Custer, C-U-S-T-E-R. He does a lot of like Fannie Mae and foreclosures, and he is more than open.
Oh, perfect.
Especially since I just sold one because he's like that.
Awesome. Good. Gary Custer, C-U-S.
He has something.
Awesome. Perfect. Good deal. His last stand. Yeah, all right. Yeah, you get that. He has long flowing golden hair, I'm sure, to do. Awesome. Great. Thank you. Danielle has a success story, right? For speaking of which,
yeah.
and even had a little bit of a tenuous moment, but pulled it out of the fire again. So tell us a little bit about what happened there.
The open house that I did, I sold it. We're under contract, and I actually listed their home as well. So I got 2 transactions out of the open house. I got another buyer that will be ready in October, but she's already pre-approved. All she needs is just saving her down payment money. So we're already working together. She's amazing. She's so funny. So by May 5th, I would have closed 2 deals on an open house I did 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
So,
just business coming out of thin air, right? Corn planting, if you will, right? That just put in the ground and it, sprouted up. A business she didn't have.
The funny part is they're friends of mine.
All right.
I actually showed the property to a couple months ago.
Ah.
And they were like, no. And that's kind of why I picked it, because I was already familiar with the property. It was in the neighborhood. And I was like, okay, I might as well. And she's like, I'm going to come out there again. And I was like, all right, come on over. And she was like, yeah, I think we're going to do it this time.
Awesome.
So it worked out.
Cool. And it was on the market that long?
Yeah.
Okay, so very good. Cool. A lot of times these bank foreclosures tend to fly off the shelf as fast. Yeah. Oh, single? All right, cool. And they're fully cool with that.
Yeah, it's
All
a
right.
fixed one.
All right, very good. Awesome. Insurable? Very good. See, checking out. And just now that you are with Future Home Realty, I have to ask a little more probing questions. I mean, Keller Williams like, whatever, that's your broker's problem, not mine. But now that I am your broker, so really? A sinkhole? Repaired sinkhole. Yeah. Did we research that? It's insurable. All right, very good. Awesome. Good job. Well, cool. It's just a matter of going out and doing the stuff, right? It's just, and again, if you've got more business you know what to do with, then don't do this. Right? You don't have to do this because there are other things to do. If you're looking for business, you're going to meet people. It's just flat out, just a way to go and do it. Sherry, we've had some people, a couple people the Tuesday night were raving about the flea market, in particular the wagon wheel. And I know, are you getting Oldsmar fired up? Okay. Okay. Are you looking for people at either place? Okay. Mostly wagon wheel. Okay.
Wagon wheel, what other one? Okay.
Yeah, the Oldsmar flea market, and then right. But the people that do wagon wheel come away with business. I can't remember who it was on the Tuesday night meeting. I can't remember.
Judah met somebody, I think it was December, and he follows up really well.
Yep.
She seen he hadn't opened anything, so she called him 2 weeks ago and found out the email wasn't correct. She had one of her letters wrong. She sent him stuff, and he said, I was just getting ready to put my house up for sale by owner. She says, I didn't want to do that. And she went over, got the listing, and now he wants to buy something. So she got a listing and got to buy it.
From somebody at the wagon wheel.
Yeah, she just met him, I think, in December.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a relatively short. Right. That's pretty impressive that you follow up to see that he hadn't been opening things or whatever. That's we're going to talk about the F-bomb today a little bit in Michael's book, which is follow-up, because it's all, you can make all the contacts in the world, but if you're, think that they're, you got to effectively follow up. We'll talk through that some. Good deal. So if you're looking for other stuff out there, check with Sherry. Yeah. Who was it? The other young lady that said thanks. I sat at. I was doing some corn planting. No, wasn't. I can't remember. She had blonde hair. Not Utah. Yes, Julie. Right. Yeah, and she said she has like 12 or 13 solid, people. Gave her information, ready to roll, and that kind of stuff. So take advantage. It's all about the traffic, right? It's where you're just meeting people. So cool. Awesome. Yeah. By the way.
And maybe you'll know if it's like easy to do this, but I was thinking, how they have the events where they have the vendors set up with tents and stuff, like not an art show, but they have different kinds of that. Do you think that would be easy to kind of do in that scenario as well?
Try it. I mean, it's, as opposed to sitting at home and watching reruns of, like Bob says, reruns of whatever, but
Kardashian.
I mean, I just found that what we have is that there's just so many people where we're at that it just, and we've established ourselves in home. In fact, last weekend when I was there, I went to put the leads in the system, and 3 of the people were already contacts. So, one of them I met in 13, one of them I met in 14, and they had clicked on it and they got deactivated, so I had to reactivate, and some of their search things changed. They were looking for this price range, now they want beach, so.
Awesome. And to your question, I think, Tanya, you have a situation with that, or?
Well, I have a girlfriend that did some of these art shows with shoes, so very different. But she did several that ran into evening hours with like food, drink, band, and had really bad experience because people come to eat and drink and have a good time and not to spend money.
That makes sense.
So that's the only input I have from helping her and doing that 3 weekends with her. The ones that was more like artsy, crafty during the day, that was good. People are there, open mind, sober. The ones that led into evening hours, drinking, food, bands, the bands. Like if there was music even during the day, live bands, it was about the social hangout.
Yeah.
And people didn't have their business hat along.
Okay, that makes sense.
That's great feedback. But good thoughts too. I mean, I think, and you give it a shot, but rather than do it at the jazz festival, maybe do it at a different type of event that would do that. Fair enough. Cool. Good feedback. But again, all where it is, right? Jim and I are surprised because we, every once in a while, we'll do trade shows for Future Home where there are going to be realtors, and it's amazing. The most popular booths are jewelry and women's shoes. You know what I mean? I was like, what are you doing at a realtor trade show? But it's, you know, they're just looking for traffic, right? That's all they want, and opportunities to get through. Or somebody selling some, you know, thing. Totally, you feel like it's unrelated to real estate, but it's there. And so it's kind of almost the surprise factor, too. This is what Julie, I think, noted on Tuesday night, is that people are wandering around the flea market, and they're like, what? Real estate? Huh? And they think, you know what, quite frankly, if I run across somebody like that, that's a go-getter in my mind. You know what I mean? If I'm a consumer, I'm thinking, boy, they're taking, that's creative. I like that. You know what I mean? And people respect that in their salesperson, if you will, or their consultant. We like to call ourselves, right? But they like that ability to do that. So cool.
Also partnering with David of American Patriot Title, so he's going to be the title company.
Oh, good. He's going to start. Awesome. Good. Perfect. He is a good guy. He is a really good guy. So come on in. So anyway, so if you have more questions, real quickly, I'll make and we'll talk about this at the end. Bank owned open houses, converting walk-in traffic, work with buyers. Oh, it's not on this slide. Working with investors, okay, in particular. And I'm not talking buy and flip. Next session, we're going to have a early bird session. So first of all, the next session here for this meeting, we're going to meet at the Hampton Inn in Oldsmar. Okay, Hampton Inn on Tampa Road in Oldsmar. This room isn't available that whole week. They're gone.
And that's April 6th?
It'll be April 6th, 7th, 8th, I think.
7th, Tuesday.
Wednesday. It'll be Tuesday night. If you want to come Tuesday night, it's the 7th, right? At that same Hampton Inn. Wednesday morning, the 8th, at that same Hampton Inn. On the 8th.
Something from Mexico.
Oh,
I'll be packing.
okay, no problem. Understood. All right. So it'll be the 8th. All right. And we're going to have a special, the normal session will start at 10, right, like we do here. But we'll have an early bird, 9 a.m. Come. We're going to learn to speak the language of an investor. All right, and if you're doing that, it's specifically to, like I said before, the investor, we're going to do the language of an investor when an investor is a buy and hold investor. Somebody who wants to look at it as a kind of a longer term investment, maybe a 5-year hold, rent it out, that kind of thing. If you're looking for the investor who wants to hold it for 30 days and flip it, that's a real easy seminar. You ready? Take notes. Buy low, fix it up, sell for more money plus that you put into it and make your money. There it is, end of seminar. All right, that's the whole end result there. This is a whole different ballgame. If you start talking about ROI and cap rates and their true rate of return and the present value of money, it's a lot of math in this thing, but it's really good. All right, because I'm telling you, once you start working with investors and you start talking that language to them, boy, you can win them over in a heartbeat. Somebody that actually understands how they think. So I want to help you do that. So we'll have a quick breakout session. If you can't come to both, don't. If you've already been to one and don't, whatever. So this regular session will start at 10, 9 a.m. For the early bird.
What time does the PM one start?
It'll start the early bird at 6 and the regular session, the regular 100K at 7. Okay? Perfect. Good point. All right. So since I don't have a clicker, I'm going to go up. And don't forget the conference call on Friday. All right. We'll just bang through any questions you have. We're getting less and less people on there, but that's okay. I think most of the time it's because people are having less and less problems. They know what to do, and or they're learning that we don't, listen to their excuses, so they stop calling in. I thought this was going to be a whiny session. Well, guess what? Too bad. All right. Have a great day. All right. Oop, let me go back. See, Chuck, I'm so used to my Surface, I'm tapping on the, why won't this thing listen to me on the screen? Tapping on that thing all day long. Okay. Oh, me from current slide. All right. Okay, so here is, it's basically chapter 5 in 7 levels. All right. By the way, I encourage you to go back as we cover them, or if you know what we're going to cover, go back and reread those, just those sections. all right, as we do it in 7 levels as we get to the orange grove. Because ultimately, corn planting's great, and it is, all right? But the true goal here is to get you to a point where you can turn your business into a business, where you're getting repeat customers and you're working on by referral only, all right? I won't coin that phrase because I'll probably get sued because somebody has done that, right? Okay, but that's ideally where we want to be, right? We'd love to not have to go sit open houses at Banco, and love to not go sit at the Wagon Wheel Flea Market and deal with people and have the smell of elephant ears or whatever they're wafting in the background. That's great, okay? But until then, we do it, right? And then if we can convert those people and we start planting these little orange trees, then eventually we get to the point where we're living off of the referrals. I told you Michael, who wrote the book, sells 170 some odd homes a year in Kansas City, and he lives in Atlanta. Okay, just because he's just there doing. I was reminded the other day, it was funny because I was talking to Jeanette about, I remember vividly taking my real estate course, and the guy who taught it was a Century 21 sponsored real estate course back in 1993. And the guy who taught, a really good guy, by the way. But at the end, I was like, there's mostly younger people in the room, a few older, but I was like, at 24, was probably on the older side of all the people in the class, all right? It was good. I don't know, it was just the dynamic was a young group there, right? And so he went around the room, like right before we took our class exam, and said, all right, so how much do you want to make in real estate? All right, and I was the high person of the group when I said $45,000. Okay, because I think that was 150% of my teaching salary, and so I thought, boy, if I could, I wouldn't know what to do with it. I'd be rolling, I'd be sleeping in dollar bills, right? If I could make $45,000 a year, right? That's where my mindset was, right? And so I was there, and he just kind of chuckled after that because everybody else was like below me, right? And I thought I was going way overboard. And he chuckled and he said, "Guys," he goes, "I get it that you don't understand." He said, "But I can make $45,000 a year and never leave my house." Wow. And I thought, and I was the only one. I said, well, he goes, "Right, by now I could refer business out and get $45,000." And so I thought about the other day. Here I am. I get a call. I'm setting up my Rays season tickets. I still have Rays season tickets, and we're going through the process of who's picking what games because I sell 10 packs to a couple different guys since I'm not in town, and we're going through it. And the guy who set up the Google Doc page for us to do this said, "Oh, I can't get in this year. I don't want any tickets." I said, "No problem." And I said, "Well, set it up, and I can get you. I'll give you a couple tickets for setting up the doc." And he said, "Oh, I think, matter of fact, I'm meaning to talk to you because I think I'm transferring up to Charlotte, North Carolina." All right. And I said, "Oh, great." So he goes, "Hey, you have a good agent to recommend?" So sure enough, I set him up for somebody to sell his home. He goes, "Do you have a good agent in Charlotte?" I said, "Well, let me do some digging around." I just went on to Realtor.com, right? Took me 5 minutes. Realtor.com. I said, "What area are you looking in and what price range?" He told me 300,000 to 400,000 in just southeast of Charlotte. All right, in this county or whatever it was. So I put in that county, looked through, found an agent that had like 8 listings, clicked on her personal website. It's Keller Williams' agent. All right, clicked on her personal website. She looked like she has a team, knows what's going on. She has all sorts of good information. Called her up, interviewed her just for, like I said, for 2 minutes, and boom, got the referral out, done. By the time it's going to be a slam dunk, it's going to be $400 on each side. All right, so you're talking $800,000 worth of business at $24,000. I'm making $6,000 for making a couple phone calls, right? At my 25% referral fee. That's where you want to be, And I in my mind immediately went back to that guy who said I can make $45,000 a year and never leave my house, right? That's where it is. So eventually, you want to get to the point where you're sitting on the porch, right? Paying somebody else to pick the fruit, or the other people are picking the fruit. They're paying you to allow them to pick your fruit. All right, if you know what I mean. That now, hey, look, I'll go sell it, and then once you sell it, give me 25% of what you sold it for. Fair enough? And that's eventually where you want to be, because that's the better way. I mean, that frees you up, all right, to go on spring break, right? Okay, and to do these kind of things and get that done. Fair enough? All right. So with that being said, we got a smaller group today, so let's just break it up. How about if we go you 3? All right. Let's go you 3. All right, Sherry, Betsy, and Randy, and then you 3 is Chuck's manning the phones there. All right, so, and we'll go you 3. So we have 3 groups All right, let's go, and we'll just step in. Let's see. You guys, once you guys take the disc profile, just going to tell us either not real in depth. You don't have to tell us. Just tell us basically what the four, what DIS and C represent, and just maybe some common traits of each of those. All right. Once you guys take two, if you would. All right. Take what's the platinum rule? That's a pretty easy answer. Okay. What's the platinum rule? And then share the 4 steps to an effective one-on-one. This is all from Michael's book on, I think it's chapter 5. All right. The 4 steps to an effective one-on-one meeting. Okay. And you guys, once you guys take what is the F-bomb, and then at the end, just answer this question. It's not a direct quote, by the way. They had that confusion there the other day. All right. Instead of referrals, we should be looking for, there's an answer to that. Okay. All right. So once you guys get, we'll break. It's 10:30 now. How about let's come back at 10:38? Got it? Fair enough? All right. Break that and come back. Yes, you may. Do that, so that's
Every once in a while.
the right person. So, this is all about affirmations, right? We talked about our affirmations in the morning. I'm going to show you this real quickly. This is great. If you've already seen it, it's pretty cool to watch again.
Yeah, it is.
I like my dad, I like my cousins, I like my aunts, I like my elephants.
So you're.
Uh-oh, what happened here?
I'm actually 12, I'll be 13 October.
Was that her all grown up?
That was obviously a little while ago. How do I get out of here? Let me go back. So that is a different one. Let me go back on this again.
She's always planning her next playlist live.
Here, this is 50 seconds.
Discount Tire wants to help you get ready for spring with big brand savings right now.
I can be a cert.
I can be a cert.
My whole house is great. I can do anything good. I like my school. I like everything. I like my dad. I like my cousins. I like my aunts. I like my elephants. I like my mom. I like my sister. I like my dad. I like I like my hair. I like my haircuts. I like my pajamas. I like my stuff. I like my room. I like my whole house. My whole house is great. I can do anything good. Yeah.
Doing that for a while.
Isn't that awesome? That is so. Oh, then here's that guy, Jim. Just you were just talking about that. That's good.
Linda, honey, Linda.
Linda, honey, just listen. That was funny too.
Did you see the one with the little black kid that, Dad, they had to give him a shot, and Dad said, "It doesn't hurt, you're the man, you're the man." And the nurse put the needle in, he had like little tears, and he goes, "I'm the man!"
Oh my gosh, I can imagine. I would still do that, by the way. I still have problems. I still have little tears coming down when I have to get a shot. That's hilarious. But can you imagine you waking up and living your life that way? Right? And you know what? I think innately, we have to be taught this, but I think it's easy to teach it that young, right? But then it's harder and harder if we've had life beat up on us a little bit, right? So let's try and catch it as early as possible. Dude, I love when she says, at the end, I don't know if you caught it, she goes, "I can do anything better than anybody." That was awesome. Can you imagine attacking your day that way? Man, it was funny. And I don't think I mentioned it. Some of you have been in the group before. I talked about how, my upbringing and how it wasn't the most positive, right? And I had a lot of negative influences and that kind of stuff. And so because of that, with Joseph, when he was born, Joseph's our biological son, I really wanted to make sure that we were, because I grew up McDougal's rent, McDougal's are poor, McDougal's, whatever, okay, don't succeed, in essence, is what I was hearing, right? And so with Joseph, I wanted to overcome that. So early on, ever since, McDougal's are the best. McDougal's are the best. McDougal's are the best. I would drive it into him. And so before he could even really understand what he was saying, he was more parroting things, right? It was, but he would say, and I'd say, "McDougal's are," and he'd say, "the best." McDougal's are. And so after a while, when he got to be about a little older, 18, 19 months, with 2 years, people would come up, "So what's your name, little guy?" "Joseph." "What's your last name?" "McDougal's are the best." He thought his last name was McDougal's are the best. That was all because it all went together. You know what I mean? "Can you spell that for me?" "No, but McDougal's are the best." Right? It was awesome. And so it's just, trying to overcoming that stuff. And so obviously great parents that she has have obviously led her in that direction. So cool. Anyway. All right, let's start. You guys, disc profile. Teach us about the disc.
Well, we had a lot of good information on it. Having the quadrant to look at is most useful with the DICS. And one of the things, and which they don't have in the book, she pointed out that there's no good picture of it in the book.
Right.
And
I can show that quick.
yeah.
I Googled it at home because I'm a visual person, and then I just found a picture and printed it myself and stuck it in my little book.
That's awesome. That's good. So that's the disc profile.
Yes.
Does it have
A short description
Short
for the
description of
different
each.
personalities with each quadrant.
Perfect. Good deal.
And the thing about it is nobody's exclusively one thing.
Good point.
Actually, I think you sort of you could plot yourself somewhere on the profile, and at Keller, they talked about the disc constantly. And the leaders were encouraged to profile everybody.
Sure.
And themselves. And so, but they talked in terms of a high D or a high I or a high C, which I think when you do the profile, that's the way it kind of works out. You'll be highest in one category. And I guess the point of putting it in here is about how you communicate with other people by identifying what they are, and then you can sort of feed their needs based on what their profile is.
Bam. You guys, that is it right there. Coming back from days of, I'm sure you'll appreciate the Florence Littauer. It wasn't the disc profile, but it was the phlegmatic and the sanguine, and they had their 4 quadrants. It's just the same stuff in a different terminology, right? My biggest problem with that stuff is that I kept hearing people use it as an excuse for themselves. Well, it's just the way I am, right? And that goes right into Covey. Remember how Covey says in Habit 1, we learned that, I am because of my grandparents, right? It's my genes. I am because of my upbringing. It's my parents. I am because of all these external, forces. So it's okay you need to understand who you are, but to Chuck's point, understand how other people are, right? And you want to give them, I'm kind of leaking into the platinum rule here, right? You want to treat them the way they want to be treated, all right? Or communicate with them the way they want to communicate. Danielle's generation, if I say, hey, Danielle, fax me something, she's like, huh? What's a fax, right? Okay? Well, it's true though, we're getting more and more that way.
I feel that way too.
And so, with that in mind, go ahead.
I think the best example is, like, I'm chatty, I'm social. If I talk to a D and I'm too long-winded, you have like 30 seconds of attention. If you don't bring your point across, they're not hearing the rest of what you're saying. And I learned that the hard way. Like, I told people important stuff at the end of the conversation, and 3 days later I told you so, I didn't listen to that part. Admitted it to me 2 days, I didn't listen to that part.
We're done.
First 30 seconds, because then they're done. They want it straight to the point.
Yeah.
That is so it. But here's the other side of that. If you're straight to the point to an I or to somebody else, they might be offended.
They think you're rude.
Like, ooh, you what? Rude?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The other guy's like, yeah, you're rude because I don't care about your dog, right? The high D's like, I'm glad you have a new puppy, but who gives a flying flip? All right, right? That's what the high D's gonna say to you.
You can do your perfect voicemail message and say who you're going to call back at what hours.
Oh yeah.
And the ones who need the most attention, I'll call you back late tonight. So I got some time, I can lay down on the couch.
Yes, exactly.
Glass of wine.
That's right, exactly. I gotta be three sheets to the wind before I call you back, right? Exactly. But that's so, and that's so it, is that, and I think they do a good job in the book when the assignment, when he's on the coaching call, and he says, all right, Rick, you just found the perfect home for your client, and he's a D. Leave a message, right? And at first, the first one was a little long, and then he came back and says, that's not bad, but do it again. He says, hey, Chuck, found the house for you, call me. Boom. That's what a D wants to hear, all right? Whereas the I wants to know it's on the end of a cul-de-sac. You can shut the place down and have the block party, right? The same one, all right? The S wants to know, okay, hey, it's on a cul-de-sac and it's perfect for you because now there's no through traffic. Your kids can play soccer in the cul-de-sac. They want that safety, you know what I mean, the caring. And the C wants, hey, Rick, I found the new place for you. It's on a cul-de-sac, but more importantly, it's $119.32 per square foot, and that is a full $1.28 per square foot lower than the average sale price per square foot over the last 6 months in that subdivision. Right? That's what they want to hear. And then here's an attached Excel spreadsheet. I'm sending it over to you right now. The guy's just like, oh, you still my waking heart, an Excel spreadsheet. You know what I mean? The eye's like, what's an Excel spreadsheet? Right? Can you Instagram that thing to me? Take a picture of it and get it over. But it's true. You want to give people what they want, right? It's just, the way it is. And we need to understand That's going on. Real quick, give me, matter of fact, once you should read it from your little chart.
Oh,
Description
you
of a
mean
D, an I, an S, and a C, real quick.
Oh, the description?
Yeah, just whatever that 2-word blurb is or whatever. Descriptive words, do they have descriptive words?
The D is fast-paced, outspoken, questioning, and skeptical.
Okay.
The I is fast-paced and outspoken, but accepting and warm.
Okay.
Then the S, very accepting and warm, cautious and reflective. And C is questioning and skeptical, cautious and reflective.
Gotcha. Very good. Okay, cool. So you can begin to see those things, and there are different ones that have different things, and we all have a portion of each of that in us. But to Chuck's point, that we're predominantly usually one, and there is a way that once you answer all the how many questions are on that disc?
Tons.
A lot, right?
Yeah.
By answering all these questions, they plot it and they say, well, you are predominantly here with a little bit of this and some of that.
Well, and then they also go into they have 3 ways that you rate yourself. One is how you think you are. The other is how other people think you are. And then I guess the third is how you would like to be what you are, and they rate you 3 different ways.
That's awesome. I think that's good stuff. So if you get a chance to take that disc profile, you should do it sometime. All right, you really should. Just to see, that way and then you know what to look for in other people. It's not a bad idea.
I think you can take it online for no charge, but they won't give you the full interpretation of your results without a charge.
Exactly. So, cool. Very good. Great job, guys. Everybody. And the key here is not only knowing it for us, but more importantly, knowing it for recognizing it in other people. Right? Agreed. So that we can help, communicate with them. I mean, sometimes we have to speak slower. Right? Or faster.
That gets into the whole neuro-linguistic programming and mirroring and things like that. Which
is very important.
Yeah.
Because you can lose people if you don't tell them the important stuff they need to know in the first 30 seconds if they're a certain personality type. Great job. Awesome. It's good information for us to hear. All right, you guys, you got 2, right? I kind of leaked it already. I stole your thunder a little bit about the platinum rule.
Well, it goes hand in hand with what they were talking about, the disc profile. What is the platinum rule? The platinum rule now talks about treat them how they want to be treated. So in your handout, you have the mentality, give them what they want and express it that same way. So then in that same level, you are actually treating them how they want to be treated. So that's the same rule and it applies the same way.
That's different from the golden rule, right? The golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated, right? That's what we all learned growing up, all right? But the platinum rule takes it a step higher and says, no, treat them the way they want to be treated. Because just because I try and treat Chuck the way I want to be treated doesn't mean anything. Because Chuck doesn't want to be treated the way I want to be treated. He wants to be treated the way Chuck wants to be treated.
Right.
And that's the platinum rule. Great job. Awesome.
Okay,
Right.
the next one, we have the 4 steps to an effective one-on-one meeting. I guess the number 1 rule goes back to Frog, which it's you ask him about family, recreational things that they like, occupation and goals. So that's what Frog stands for. It's just, I guess it opens up that line of communication and breaks up the ice, so to speak. Then the next thing is, the number 2 is ask them, what is your biggest challenge right now? And take it from there. So it's kind of like breaking the ice and getting comfortable with the client.
And it's also focusing on them, right? You're asking them, hey, how can I help you, basically, is what you're asking. What's your biggest challenge? Okay.
Absolutely. And then the next one would be model their speech. Okay. If they're a little faster, then, go on the same line, because everything relates to itself, the same disc profile. If they speak a little slower, then speak a little slower with them and just kind of go into the same line of communication, I would say.
It's the mirroring that Chuck was talking about. You mirror their actions.
And then the last one is, how can I help you?
Yeah.
What can I do for you? And the hardest thing to do is to actually follow up with some power notes. Which is the hardest thing to do.
Power notes is in there as well. And remember, the whole goal of asking how can I help you is to lead with an action item, right? That's going to allow you to get to, later on when we talk about the F-bomb, because now you have something to follow up with, a reason to get back to them, because, hey, look, you say your biggest challenge right now was finding someone to help you with your crown molding on the new house that you just bought. All right. Hey, you know what? I did some research and I just found somebody. Right? Or whatever it is. That's, you know, what are you just looking for an action item? Something that, hey, look, how can I help you? All right, because you want to start the generosity cycle, right? And remember, nowhere in the 4 steps did we say, don't forget to ask for the referral, right? It's not there. You're not asking for the referrals, right? Not asking for a great job. Awesome. So that's an effective one-on-one. Great job. Perfect. And then we have over here F-bomb, and instead of referrals, we are asking for.
Okay, so the F-bomb was follow-up, a system for follow-ups for one-on-ones. And what they suggest in the book is a 7-week series of power notes. 4 out of the 7 should be phone calls. The other 3 can be direct mail, emails, things in that nature. And then the biggest part of it is the organizational part of it and making sure you're putting it in your CRM.
Perfect. And CRM is, you know, your contact management software. And we all should have something, whether it be an Excel spreadsheet, to anywhere to souped up, you know, soup and nuts, everything does it for you. There are some really good CRMs out there that you can pretty much, if you're organized, set up your communication plan for the year at one shot. I mean, it may take you a day or 2, but if you focus some time and effort, I want this email to go out on April 13th. All right, I want this email to go out to this group on July 22nd. And you set it up and you stand back and it's done. All right, it will automatically take care of those things. Now you were asking, didn't you post up there you were looking for one to replace the Edge, right?
Yeah.
And have you, like Juggler, have you found?
I haven't. I was going to try Juggler, but I haven't had a chance.
All right, no problem. Juggler's been one of the ones that keeps popping up, because it's cost effective. It's like $99 a year.
We have a free 3-month trial.
Exactly.
So that's why I was going to give it a try.
It's relatively inexpensive, $99 a year, and has all those things. Now, it's not a lead generation thing. Like, I know you guys have some lead gen stuff, you know, other than it's not going to put new data into your database, but it's for your existing database and how you do it. And later on in the book, we talk about the communication plan, right? How do we set that up? Here's how many times we're going to, because he references it, begins to introduce it here. All right, let's, you know, we're going to touch them 7 times. Keller Williams teaches the 31 touch, or what is it, still 31?
It's 24.
Okay.
But at a recent meeting, I didn't go to the family reunion, but I watched on video one speaker, and he was introducing the concept that 24 touches was too much. Mm-hmm. So
I would tend to agree. I thought 31 was too much.
Yeah.
All right, so I still think 24 is too much. Depends on how it's done. Now, if it's all, they feel like you're being bombarded, and you check your unsubscribe rate, right? If you're getting a ton of unsubscribe, it means it's probably a sign that it's too much, you know? So, I'll tell you this, Michael teaches this, he doesn't say it in the book, but I've heard him say it at a seminar, all right? That people say, oh, now I gotta get started, I wanna do this, but you know what, I haven't talked to him in so long. You know what, he says, it's one of his favorite lines. One phone call overcomes 12 months of perceived indifference on your part. One phone call, okay? One voice-to-voice phone call is so much better than a slick email campaign that comes up and says, hi, Robert, to me, when everybody who knows me calls me Bob, right? But Robert is what my license says. So somebody's bought a list, and it says, hi, Robert, we have leads for you in your area. Right? It's like, no. Okay, somebody calls me Bob. Hey, Bob, I got somebody who wants to buy in your area. You remember, you know what I mean? That's, you know, phone call saying that is a lot better. Okay, that's why it's higher up on the communication pyramid. So, but nothing wrong with dripping people, all right? But I would like to drip people that are truly in my database, not some list I bought. Fair enough? Okay? That's why Jim, and then we do mass marketing to real estate agents. You know, trying to promote Future Home Realty. But don't get me wrong, Jim, is it a lot easier when somebody calls you and says, hey, Danielle just moved over, and awesome, thank you very much. He said right there, I'll grab it, thank you. Danielle just moved over, and she talks really highly about, you know, her transition, and things are great. We'd love to come talk to you about Future Home Realty. Okay, slam and dunk, right? And that's what you want, is you want to be there in that position. Fair enough? Cool. Good job. Awesome. So that's the F-bomb. And then instead of referrals, we should be looking
For people to introduce us to other people that we trust, they trust, neighbors, friends, family members, co-workers, and to be connected to influencers and connectors.
Perfect. That's it. Instead of referral kind of has not a negative connotation, but it's a little, people shy away from that word. Hey, can you refer me? That doesn't feel good, all right? But later on in the book, he doesn't do it yet, but he talks about who like you. Do you remember that conversation they had? Hey, Danielle, who like you is a newer agent in the real estate business that you think might benefit from the benefits of the training and the great compensation plan we offer here at Future Home? All right? Who you take it back to them, who like you, and because of that, would you mind not referring them to us? Would you mind introducing us to them? There's a big difference in the word refer and introduce. All right? It's a lot warmer. Okay? Words matter. Hey, look, you know what? Could you when you get to that, because remember, we don't avoid referral conversations in this. I missed that the first time I taught from here. Remember I told you that I thought, oh, I'm not allowed to even say it. I'm not even allowed to talk about those things, right? No. You have to earn the right to talk about it. Right? We don't talk about it on the front side. We talk about them after the cycle's already rolling and going. Okay? Did you get that plugged in? I think I fired it. Awesome. Good. They did find it. By the way, who was I talking to? They found my little connector. I left the little part that this thing talks to in the computer 3 weeks ago, and they found it for me. Good job, guys. They were awesome. Fair enough. So good. Awesome job, guys. Everybody got that? So we're not asking for referrals, introductions. Remember, because they start talking about the triangle of trust. Now that really starts to rock. All right? You start doing triangle of trust. All right? Where, man, hey, could you connect me to your CPA? Matter of fact, I'm going to call your CPA. Could you do me a favor and let him know I'll be calling between 2 and 4 today? So now they're going to take that call, and now everybody's, rocking together. Fair enough?
I had a realization to what you're saying. I think the difference a little bit between referral and the introduction is a referral, people feel like they're responsible for your work. Like if I refer a cleaning lady and the cleaning lady doesn't do a good job, then I feel bad.
Yes, you do.
I referred the cleaning lady and she did.
Your name's on the line.
Versus, well, I know a great cleaning lady. Let me give you her number, or let me get you in touch, and almost step away a little bit. It's like I'm organizing the cleaning lady's opportunity for interview the job to clean that person's house.
Right.
If they've come together, is not my responsibility. And I think that's what people are more generous in giving, that introduction without the responsibility. So you're asking for less.
I agree. And I agree with that 100%. And it's better off for you to allow them to, hey, look, you know what? She did a great job for me, but you know what? Personalities are different. Why don't you just interview her and see what you think? But ultimately, the decision's yours. But let me introduce the two of you.
And then it almost sounds like you're missing out. This is a great cleaning lady. You would miss out if you didn't see if she could do a good job for you.
Exactly.
And I'm not responsible if she doesn't.
Exactly. Perfect. So, awesome. Good deal. All right. So, but we're still, and by the way, the cleaning lady is going to be happy with you and is going to introduce you to the next real estate client that she runs across that's looking to buy or sell real estate. Because they're happy about it. That's why there are business networking international groups around the world. All right. It's because that stuff works, because networking does work. It's all word of mouth advertising. It's the best way to go. Fair enough? Cool? All right. Good deal. Everybody good with that? Okay. 7 habits. Habits 2 and 3. Yeah, laugh because you didn't read it? Is that what you're laughing about? Or laugh because you're digging deep in? Or what do you
Because we read the stuff and then we discuss it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, now I gotta write all this stuff. And she visualizes.
Oh, gotcha. Like your personal mission statement and all that other stuff. I gotcha. So that's good. That's fair enough. But the different personality types. There's nothing wrong with that.
She's laughing because I'll be like, oh, page 161, oh, page 130. So text me, I'll text you in an hour, see where you're at.
That's right. Let me get out of my way. Let me do my work. Okay, cool. Here's the thing. On habits 2 and 3, this is some pretty deep stuff that we dig through. I'll talk about the last couple parts because, matter of fact, we are still in the process of converting our training, but there is a time management class that I taught that's on our website that is all based on Habit 3. I taught it probably about 18 months ago when I reread the book, and I said, "Dadgummit, this is good stuff." So I retaught and recorded it, and it's all about living in quadrant 2. So we're going to talk about that and how the difference is, because Cubby does a really good job. By the way, you start to see, all right, well, we'll talk about it in a second. Okay, so go back in our groups. Let's go back in reverse order. Why don't you guys talk two things. What does it mean to begin with the end in mind? That's kind of a very general question, right? And then also define two creations and how we go about rescripting becoming our own first creator. Not in-depthly, but just give us the concept, all right, behind two creations. If you like to refresh, that's fine, all right, to get that. So you guys got that. You guys back there, what's the value of a personal mission statement?
You're wrong this time.
All right, you guys are going to leap between habit 2 and habit 3. You guys are, one of them's in habit 2 and one's in habit 3. Okay, the value of personal mission statement, and how, by the way, that's principle. All right, and not principle. I don't know if there's such a word. All right, principle. All right, is what that is. How principle centeredness fits into that. All right, I must have hit a bump in the air pocket when I was on the plane trying to create the PowerPoint on the way down on Tuesday. All right, so principle centeredness fits into that. And then next, and this is in habit 3, explain why Covey talks about self-management rather than time management. Okay, just the idea there. And you guys, let's take 4 generations of time management. And
That's 4th generation.
that's correct, but tell us about how we evolved to the 4th generation. He talks about all 4. All right. All right. And then why do we need to live in quadrant 2? Just introduce that the concept of the quadrants there, and then I'll take care of what's the ultimate goal and beauty of 4th generation self-management. Cool. All right. We got some good time here. We're making good time. So it's 11 o'clock now. Let's do 11:10. Fair enough. 11:10. We'll reconvene. All right. Good job.
You want to hear from
just a server, right? We were served our ways through college, right? And just where an extra $100 could make the difference in the world, right? It's just like you pick up an extra shift and you feel like you're back on track now, and but you were even doing you were time blocking then and looking at your Sunday night rituals. Like, hey, here's how much I need to. I was funny, we went skiing for spring break with the boys, and you guys, anybody ski? Okay, been to ski resorts or anything like that? Hilarious. The groups around there are just the people that work there. They're in their 40s and still living that way, right? They're just the lift operators, and everybody's just. But it's so funny to see the community inside these ski resorts that they just kind of, the boys found this place called Sugar Lips, which they made these little mini donuts. Like right then they would drop the dough in and fry them as they go through like a little conveyor belt, and they'd pop them out, and then you can shake in either powdered sugar or cinnamon sugar on the thing, so it's their favorite, right? So we go in there, and the dude that worked there, he was there from 8 a.m. till 9 o'clock at night, same dude, right? Just living there. And so I was joking with Jeanette because I went out early the morning we were leaving. I went out early to go get donuts for the boys, because I was looking, bucking for Dad of the Year, award, that kind of thing. So I got up there right when they were opening. He was outside looking at this with another guy looking at something, and so he came back, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you were there. I said, no problem. He goes, yeah, I just got this new bike. Because, they ski and they mountain bike. In the summer, they mountain bike, right? And they ski in the winter. That's all. And if they can just live there, if they can pay their rent and ski, all right, and mountain bike, that's it's a simpler way of life. You know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, wow, you know what? It may not be so bad, because they're just free and easy. And he's like, oh yeah, I just got this new bike and it's awesome. And the other guy walked in. He goes, dude, that's nicer than any car I've ever owned. They're just talking about. He goes, oh yeah, and I had to show it to him because he lent me the last $40 I needed to buy the thing. And I'm just going back. I'm like, I remember that. You know what I mean? I remember that time and Jeanette was laughing. She goes, that $40 has been passed around the whole community. It's like, hey, you loaned it to me, you owe me 40, and I owe you 40, and I owe you 20. It's just the way they roll, and they're all just real happy with each other, and it probably comes with the fact that cannabis is fully legal in Colorado. It's a very free and easy spirit there. It's all good to go, but it was a fun time. I did post a picture on there. If you guys saw the picture, I was at the top of the summit. It's like 12,400 feet. It's so incredible there. It's just really amazing. So, good time. All right, let's work our way around. Okay, first of all, easy one, right? What's it mean to begin with the end in mind?
Well, the clear definition is to start with a clear understanding of your destination and know where you're going, so you can understand where you are now. And the exercise that I like the funeral eulogy exercise, even though I didn't write it down. I do things in my head, but what I liked about it was that you can kind of take a step back and look at your values and reassess and say, okay, well, this is what people think of me. I want to be thought of as a good, caring, loving mother, or, that successful businesswoman with clear values that was honest and had integrity and things like that. So you can kind of take a step back and reassess things, and that's beginning with the end in mind. So,
which, by the way, obviously Michael has read, right? Or here, Cubby wrote before Mayor, right? So Michael's remember the first one, he had to write his 4 eulogies and his epitaph and all that stuff. It's coming straight from beginning with the end in mind. All right, it's habit 2 is leaking all over that thing. So, and that's it, because you want to, right? You don't want to, because when we're younger, sometimes we're living for the day. All right, man, if I can get enough money to eat and ski today, I'm good. Right? Well, later on, we're starting to think, okay, well, how do I want this to end? Right? And kind of what we talked about in the very first session, that I can't help you draw a map unless we have point A and point B clearly defined, so that we can therefore look for the best route to get there. All right? Some of us don't know where B is, all right, or have a different B. And by the way, let me ask you this question. We talked about this on Tuesday night. Do you think the end can change?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Sometimes you get a little further down the road and you see some things on the road you didn't know were there because you hadn't been on the road. And or you're realizing, hey, you know what? Maybe I could change the end. Here's one thing we talked about too. Do you think, and I agree with you 100%, it's all about the core values, the principle centeredness of it all. Who am I unchangeably, right? What are my non-negotiables in life, right? But can starting with the end in mind have some aspects of things you want to achieve and
As you have paradigm shifts, yes.
There you go. That's right, because you open your eyes, right? Me, 24 years old, teaching, taking a real estate class, $45,000, I wouldn't know what to do with all my money, right? Okay, things change as your eyes open, as you evolve, hopefully, then your paradigm changes, and you're saying, and again, not that money is everything, but you know what? $45,000 is something that now I can give to my church. Okay, you know?
Yeah, but if your principal pays,
Right.
it doesn't change.
Agreed. The principles, and I agree. Let's see, that's right.
You may change what you want to do, how much money you want to make.
Yep.
But your principles that may be about, I want to have a family, you know, or I want to be a good person, and it's better if you're a good person with some money than a poor good person, because you can do more good things.
That's exactly it. And I what's that?
I said I like your thinking.
And it's true. Well, you know what? Here's one of my theories. The best thing you can do for the poor is not be one of them. Okay?
Yeah.
First of all, that's a good place to start. All right? It's a hungry man can't feed another hungry man. Right? And so, or a woman. All right? But you guys do that. Dadgummit, I meant to bring a bag of candy for you today because I saw your post to do that. Shoot. Got to do that. So Danielle goes out and feeds the homeless every Monday night?
Every other Monday.
Every other Monday night. Kind of cool pictures that you just go down. Where do you find them? Is it at a mission, or do you just go down and?
Well, it's New Walk Ministry. It's like they do like a church for the homeless and stuff, and they go under. They actually go every Monday, but our little group only goes every other Monday.
Yep.
And it's under the bridge on Ashley, under Ashley Drive in Marion.
And they know. Now they know, right? They smell the food and
they do clothes. We like pass out clothes and all that kind of stuff, and they get a hot meal, to-go peanut butter and jelly bag, usually dessert bag, and drinks.
Awesome. And you guys are doing Easter baskets or Easter?
Yeah, we're doing like little Easter treat dessert bags.
Cool. That's awesome. That's really cool. But to Chuck's point too, you know, if you're broke, you can't do that. You don't have the money to do that. So, and I agree with you, Chuck, that the principle itself, that who you are, I'm a person of integrity. That does not change. And I'm not going to compromise my integrity because I want to get to 200,000 as opposed to 100,000, right?
But at the same time, though, like before I had money, I didn't have any money to buy those treats, so I had to donate my time.
Yep.
And that, and that's really
donate what you can.
For me.
And that's exactly it, and that's where it begins. The cool thing too is as you get further in, what's the term? I'd struggle with this. Remember, I told you my upbringing, right? My upbringing was also very. My parents were not raised in a Christian home, but they became Christians, right? And Jeanette and I have had this discussion a lot of times that there are sects, S-E-C-T-S, okay? There are sections of Christianity, and I happen to be raised in one of them, that think it's very noble to be broke and oppressed and downtrodden. Because they just pick out pick up your cross daily, and that's supposed to mean that you're supposed to be, broke, indigent, whatever that word is, indigent, all right, and just downtrodden, and blessed are the poor in spirit, and that kind of, all that, and they changed ours at our church to blessed are the poor. You forgot the rest, but they just, because they thought it was noble to do that. All right. My brother-in-law calls it the Christian ghetto. All right, because they think there's nobleness in that. And I heard it explained to me one time was, you know what? Money is nothing but a tool, right? They compared it to an axe, just like an axe is a tool, right? If I use that axe to cut down firewood so I can warm my home and keep my family safe, that's a good use of the axe. If I take that axe and I chop somebody's head off, that's not a good use of the axe, but it's not the axe that is the problem. It's the use of the tool. Same thing with money, all right? People can misuse money and abuse it and so on and so forth. It can do good and it can do bad.
Like the whole gun control issue.
It's the same thing, exactly. Guns don't kill people, people kill people, right? So it's that whole concept there is what do you do with what you've been given, what you've been tasked to do. So just, and each of us has to discover that for ourselves, all right? I'm not here to proselytize you or say, hey, look, this is the way you need to think, because and think the way I think. It's been my evolution, because I had to overcome that Christian ghetto thinking, all right? Because I had ghetto thinking and Christian ghetto thinking. I was, I got to the point where one point was, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And then my finish was, yeah, but then we'll take it right back from them. I'm just kidding. Just a joke, all right? Not a blasphemy. All right, good job. So that's begin with the end in mind, okay? You've got to have a clear picture of where we want to finish, right? That's the best way to walk a route. If you don't know where you want to finish, you're kind of meandering, right? You're wandering. But if you've got a clear picture of where you want to finish, then you can take each day's route, whether that be your schedule or whatever, and say, okay, am I on the right path? Right? And then you can check that out. So begin with the end in mind. How about the two creations and how we can go from rescripting and go about rescripting and becoming our own first creator?
Okay, so the two creations, one's mental and one is physical. That's the second creation. So an example of that would be a new construction home. Your mental creation of it would be the blueprint and all the pre-planning, and then the physical creation, the second creation, would be the actual building of the home. And as far as rescripting, it's basically a paradigm shift of changing some of the basic paradigms we already have. As we recognize the ineffective scripts, we positively begin to rescript ourselves using the two, what's the word did he use? Human endowments, imagination and conscience.
Perfect. That's the other thing. Remember we talked about last time in Habit 1 where we have the ability to choose. We have that gap that differentiates us from the animals, right? Stimulus and response. We actually have a choice to choose our response instead of just responding, okay? In that, there are new endowments that humans have, and that's imagination and creativity. And that allows us to have the first creation, because everything, and what Covey does is he talks about in that just like there was a first creation and a second creation on a home, all right, or this table, all right, no matter, it was imagined first in somebody's mind and then planned out and then the physical creation, right? Same thing with us. We have to have the first creation in our mind of how we want to be before we can actually begin to live out that how we want to be. Fair enough? Okay, and it does take some rescripting because we have some inner workings going on about how we were raised. And because remember in the first one, he doesn't say ignore our grandparents' genes or ignore our upbringing. That's part of who we are, but we can't ultimately leave it at that. We have to be self-aware to acknowledge it and make the changes necessary to do it. Awesome job. Okay, good job, Ruth. Give yourself a pat on the back. All right.
No.
Okay, good
We'll pat
job.
you on the back. Pat you on the back.
All right. Value the personal mission statement. Let me get the over here. Personal mission statement and how principle-centeredness fits into that. Are you just a designated spokesperson?
Yes.
Awesome.
And left alone.
Go for it.
Okay, it says it focuses on what you want to be, your character, and to do, and that means your contributions and your achievements, and on the values or principles upon which being and doing is based.
Perfect. So we're going to take that first creation, right, and begin to actually put pen to paper and write down and commit. All right. He uses the term a lot about it's your personal constitution, right? These are our guiding principles that that are going to and principle centeredness, and it's not focused on things. It's about being who we are. It's a very interesting exercise. Anybody written a personal mission statement? Just
Not recently, long time ago.
yeah. We read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. All right, Jeanette and I did, and with that, he suggested you have a family mission statement. All right, and that's when we have this mission statement, and we had some buy-in. We explained it to the boys and everybody. That's why I think I told you last time. Our Samuel's contribution was we are a family who makes good choices, because Samuel hears that a lot. All right, to make good choices, make good choices, make good choices. All right, loves God, loves each other, has each other's back. Is basically what we're saying in our that we defend each other, because we talk about the difference in family and relatives. right? In my opinion, my family is Jeanette, Joseph, Samuel, and myself, all right? That's my family. Our relatives, all right, are my niece and everybody else that have all, these issues that quite frankly, and a lot of times at the end of the day are not my problem. As much as, now sometimes that stuff leaks into us, right, and becomes our family, and that's good. We take that on, and it's a choice to take on that role with that. So, with that in mind, having that personal mission statement gives you something foundational, principle-centered to go back to. It's something to weigh yourself against. That's what the Constitution of the United States is supposed to be, right? It's supposed to be some unchanging, unwaverable things that we're going to go back against and say, sorry, no, that's just, it's not who we are as a people. Not, you know what I mean? That's who I am as a person, so I'm going to choose to do that. Like Chuck said, those are the things that don't change. It's the non-negotiables, okay? And by the way, at the end he talks about it's not a, 10-minute process to write your personal mission statement. It takes some time to work through it. And Covey walks you through that. And there are some great tools available through Covey if you want to research them online of how they walk you through your personal mission statement. Fair enough? All right. So that's number one. Number two, okay, this is getting into habit 3, which is now putting first things first, right? That's the title of habit 3, is why does he talk about self-management rather than time management?
Because you have to manage yourself and be strong. And I think the one word that defines that whole self-management, it's discipline. And we talk about discipline all the time, and it's organizing how you want your business to be, your life to be, but stick with it and do it. So discipline.
Awesome. If you guys haven't had a chance to really read Habit 3, I encourage you to go back and reread it, because in there, it changes the whole, and these guys are going to tell us about the 4 generations of time management, but it changes the whole process, all right? It goes from, we used to think of, you teach time management class and it's just, well, I'm starting to steal their stuff, so we'll talk about that in a second. That's exactly it. That's excellent, the way, sorry. Because it's more about how I discipline myself, because that's all time management is really, is discipline, right? We just are going to take control of our time instead of our time controlling us, all right? And we find out, we look at it and like, holy smokes, where'd the day go? I get that. We all live that way, but the more disciplined we can be, which means saying no to certain things, right? He talks about that in the book, right? Okay, is that the power of the word no, and that may mean no to sometimes your own family. They understand that no, this is, time I have to do this, because why? Tanya and I were talking a lot that I have the same discussions with our boys, is that, hey, look, it's not, this is part of what I do, all right? And then, so when I take a phone call in the car, you guys have to be quiet. I'm on Bluetooth, it's time to be quiet, right? It's just, and they know that, it's just, oh, the phone's ringing again. I said, well, guess what? Yeah, we have a car because my phone rings. All right, so you know what I mean? So these are, and we have these discussions that it's just, money doesn't just show up. We don't go to the ATM and money pops out.
I've had that conversation. Well, I'm sorry I'm answering the phone, but I'm answering the phone that I can pay for the dance lesson, to which I'm driving you right now.
Exactly, right?
And it clicks. I mean,
Sure.
they're just kids. But
Right.
when you say it, and I try to say kindly, but it clicks. They just need a reminder. Yeah.
That's right, exactly. Because sometimes,
I have to relate so much to that, because now working from the house is so much difficult, and it's very funny you said about the kids. I have one child, but she knows, and it's hilarious because she picked it up right away. If I'm in the car and I pick up a phone call, she's quiet, and she tells her friend, Mom's on the phone.
Right.
So that worked out really fine. And it's funny, the younger one picked it up right away. The older one, my mother stays with me, so I
Your other
literally have
child.
to close the door. I'm working. And put a little thing outside. Do you need me for anything? Put it in there. But it's been the hardest thing, is to set that discipline at home, because they think you're home, but you're not. You're working.
Right.
So absolutely, it's something very important in this business, especially.
That's awesome. Setting up parameters, setting up, boundaries, if you will, so people know, all right? And it's all communication, right? They respect it. I think at the end of the day, they all respect the fact that, hey, look, I get it, and that's, the way it is. I tell the boys all the time, I'm here on the phone, but I'm driving you home from school. If I had if I was sitting in a cubicle, All right, you'd be staying at aftercare or doing something else, or or somebody else would be picking you up, or we'd have a nanny or whatever's going on. So these are just choices that your mom and I have made, and so here we are, to do that. So that's cool. Great job. All right, and good feedback. All right, 4 generations of time management. What generation 1?
The first generation would be made up of notes and checklists. These are just all ways to keep your life organized.
Yep,
basically.
to-do list written on a piece of scrap paper that ended up on the floorboard of my car, wherever, you know what I mean? I'm just, nothing wrong with it. Having a to-do list is better than not having a to-do list, right? We talked about the most productive day we all have is the day before vacation, because it's the day, hey, I've got to pick up the dry cleaning, I've got to get the dog to the kennel, I've got, you know what I mean? So you write all these things down so you don't get there at the end of the day and end up with Home Alone. Right? When you get, where's Johnny? All right, oh, he's back, you're at the airport and wondering where the kid is. So it's all just handwritten, to-do list, all right? That's generation 1.
And then the second generation is calendars and appointments, just so that you can kind of plan. That's more of a planning thing, whereas your notes are just
Yeah, you actually write it down
down.
into an appointment book, right? So now you have your to-do list, but we may start to say, okay, I need to do that by 10:30. All right, so you begin to put that in. Good.
And then third generation focuses on prioritization of your values, clarifying your values, what is important to you.
Perfect. So now you begin to prioritize those items on there. All right. If I have 10 things on my list, and I only have time to get 8 done. What's the best order to do these in? Okay. What 8 are going to give me the most bang for my buck? Going to give me the most effective 8. If I can only do 8. All right, I'm not going to just do any 8. I'm going to do the 8 that need to have to, that fit there. Perfect.
And then the fourth one is the realization that we can't really manage time. We all have the same amount of time in a day, but we have to manage ourselves.
Perfect. That's it. Where now you're bringing the whole picture together. That's why he teaches in habit 3, it's the end of the personal victory. Remember that he breaks the 7 habits up into personal victory, public victory, that's habits 4, 5, and 6, and 7 is what they call sharpening the saw, which means go back and always revisit it. Okay, don't forget this stuff because we know that stuff tends to wear off. All right, but this is the last. It's the kind of the culmination of the personal victory, and it's all culminating to what Betsy said. Is that D word, that discipline to manage ourselves, which in turn will lead to our calendar reflecting our principles. Boy, that's a mouthful right there, right? If you get to the point where you're disciplined enough to manage ourselves so the calendar reflects who we are and who we want to be, having thought through with the end in mind, and habit 1 telling me that it's ultimately my decision. All right, my choice to do it. All right, that's
Email that to me.
Yeah. Good. All right, make sure that's recorded so we get that on. All right. But that's exactly what I think he's trying to get across, and that's where you're bringing in. That's why it's not just a to-do list. It's not just a task list, right? But don't get me wrong. Nothing wrong with a task list because we get more things done.
That's first and 10.
What's that?
First and 10.
It's first and 10s. It's exactly it. Okay, what are the most important calls I need to make first thing in the morning? It's time blocking, right? Okay, after my first and 10s are done, now I need to go build relationship. All right, so I'm going to build relationship for 45 minutes. All right, that's my relationship hour. Okay, you call it the hour of power. All right, it's time to just build people up, help people. How can I help you, right? That's whether it be a one-on-one, whether it be a one-on-one phone call, whether it be a follow-up email. All right, remember voice to voice is better than all of it. All right, eyeball to eyeball is better than voice to voice. So you can get the more bang for your buck the higher you go up the pyramid as you do it. Dead on. Perfect. Got that. 4 generations. And then introduce us. Who's going to introduce us to the 4 quadrants? Pam is again? All right. Jim, can you hear Pam okay with where the mic is? Okay, good.
The first 2 are your most important, which would encompass urgent and then not so urgent. We all have a tendency to react to what's happening to us, and this is what comes under the urgent things, crises that arise. But what we really want to focus on is the 2, which relates more to our goals. These are the important things that we know we need to do, like lead generating or a power hour or, those kind of things that we need to stay focused to do.
Perfect. Let me read the quadrant is in the book, all right? And you guys need to review this because in the quadrant, across the top, you're going to have urgent and not urgent, okay? On the left-hand side and the right-hand side of the top, okay? And then down the left-hand side, you've got important and not important, all right? Now, got to read through the book and discuss the difference between important and urgent. All right, important things are important, meaning they have to get. Urgent things are like things, your house is on fire. It's urgent. You need to get out.
Well, that's urgent.
Yeah, it's urgent and important. That's quadrant 2. Okay.
No, that's quadrant 1.
Okay. That's right. I'm sorry. You're right. That's quadrant 1. And some of that stuff, sometimes quadrant 1 stuff will get there, but the biggest bang for your buck is going to come when you do the things that are important but not urgent. Those are the things that the relationship building. Okay, it's not urgent that you do it, but it's highly important.
And
Agreed?
it's more of a proactive thing rather than the reactive. The urgent is you're reacting to whatever's going on.
Right. This is why we're going to time block when we're going to return our emails. Right? As opposed to just responding. Every time my phone beeps or dings or rings or blings, all right, I'm supposed to jump. No. Guess what? I'm focusing on the not urgent. I'm going to focus on some quadrant 2 stuff right now. So I'm doing that. Guess what? It can wait an hour. All right? Barring there be a smoke alarm going off in my home, right? Or 3 straight text, phone call, email from your kid's school saying that, a limb is missing, all right? Then we maybe need to respond. But other than that, okay, it's where do we, and so living in that second quadrant, and so many times we get caught up in the urgent stuff, and what the worst place to live is the urgent and
not important.
Not important. All right, I'm urgently, it says interruptions, some calls, some mail, some reports, some meetings. I've taken, one of the things I've learned is, Janet and I just had this discussion again the other day because I open mail sometimes in the evening, and I've learned that it's not a good time for me to do that. Because sometimes stuff comes in the mail that I need to take care of in my mind, and I can't. Right? People are closed, things I need to check on, but people are shut down for business. So I've made the conscious decision to open the mail in the morning from the previous day. So I'm not worried about it all night, right? I open the mail, and I get what I need to do, and I can actually overcome some of the crises that may be in the mail, all right, or whatever, while I'm doing that. So it's just time blocking when you go. See you, Betsy. Have a great day. I'll post the PowerPoint, all right, so you'll see the assignments.
Yes, I'm on the second quarter, so I have to go.
That's right, good job. We'll do something that is not urgent and important. Good job. All right, good deal. All right.
I was just gonna say, maybe it's just because I'm new in the business, but I feel like everything in real estate is urgent. Like, I feel like other agents are like always like, oh my god, I need this back by 4 p.m. I gotta get it to this person and that person. And I always feel like, and I try to adhere to my time, on the contract and things like that, which a lot of agents, doesn't exist, I guess. I just try to stay to it. But is it just me, or do other people feel that way, that it's always something urgent that's coming up?
Well, that's the whole concept of the quadrants, and I think of it more across the top is urgency. Mm-hmm. If it's near the top, it's everything in quadrant 1 and 2 is urgent. Mm-hmm. Importance is up and down. Mm-hmm. So other people think it's urgent. You have to decide whether it's important. If it's important and it's urgent, then you have to take care of it. If it's not important to you, it may still, then that falls in I'm not doing a very good job with this.
No, it's not easy, but I see what you're saying, and he's right. There are some things, there are agents that live with their pants on fire, okay? I've been there, I've lived that way.
That's why.
Well, real estate leans that way, all right? One of the best things I learned, and you got to be careful how you say it, because if you can come across as, you can tick some people off. But there's the old lack of planning on your part does not constitute an emergency on my part. Right? Okay? So now all of a sudden, you got to get this signed when we've been in contract for 3 weeks, and now you're all of a sudden, and your lender, I just, spoke to them, and they said they got this over to you 7 days ago, and now, so now your lack of planning is constituting an emergency for me. If nothing else, you say, I'll do it this time, all right? But let's straighten it up next time. Let's get that, and go Sherry, and I'll come right back.
Yeah, and I just had this happen in the last month, I would say, and this has really helped me with time management as well. It may help you guys, is that I have a ton of snowbirds that come in town, and a lot of them were here last year or even 2 years ago, and now they're back again. And I had this one guy who just called me last week, and he's like, hey, we're back in town. We want to go look at some condos. We want to go look at some stuff on the beach. And I'm like, great. What's the MLS number? So I look at him, and he says, well, we'd like to go today. And I said, well, if they're owner occupied or tenant occupied, we have to give 24, 48-hour notice. Well, I really want to get this. We're leaving Sunday. And I said, oh my goodness. Well, how long have you guys been here? Oh, we've been here since February. So they've been here for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, whatever. So then the next question, which has really helped me, I said, are you looking to buy something before you leave? And it puts everything in perspective for me and for them too, I think. Because I always say, I've been saying that now all the time when people call me, oh, I'm in town, great. Are you looking to buy something before you leave? Or are you looking to put something under contract before you leave? And that helps me with my time management. Do these people just want to go look in the communities to see if they like it, and then they're just kind of tire kickers, just kind of floating around, not really serious buyers, when I have 6, 8, 10 other people that are in town that have been looking that said, we're going to buy something before we leave? That's my quadrant 2 focus. So I don't know if that helps you guys out. It has helped me tremendously by asking them, are you looking to put something under contract before you leave? Are you looking to buy something before you leave? And then I know how to spend my days. So it's just something that I came up with a couple weeks ago because, everybody's in town the last 3 weeks. So.
Right, and that's a powerful question. You know what I mean? Because that helps you prioritize them, right? Because are they just, hey, then now we're finishing up our rental and we'd like to see what else is available for next year, so that maybe next time we might buy. That's fine, all right? But guess what? I got people that want to go to contract before they leave. You know what I mean? And so we're going to take care of that. Great input.
I wanted to share, because you've mentioned the house on fire example.
Yeah, right.
A boss of mine, like 10 years ago, shared with me the difference between important and urgent.
Yeah.
If your house is on fire, it's really urgent that you get the fire extinguisher. But it was really important that you got your insurance policy last month and paid your premium.
That's a great.
So that's with many things, like sometimes you gotta think, of course I need to get out of the house and get the fire extinguisher, but the true core problem is I hope you have insurance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's awesome.
So and that was like 10 years ago, and I've never forgotten that, because it really, in that situation, that would be the biggest disaster. You get out and you have no insurance.
Right. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, I mean, if your family's safe and everybody's good and you have insurance, then it is what it is. And you know what? I wanted a new kitchen anyway.
Yeah. And I think it is often like that the non-urgent things that are very important are in all reality sometimes not difficult and not very time-consuming. You just have to do them and have to remember them and have to stick to them. Mm-hmm. Like paying that bill is not very difficult.
Right. But it's not very fun either, and it doesn't feel very urgent.
And nobody
per se.
calls you to do it,
right.
And nobody makes you do it. You got to just remember doing it and actually follow through.
That's very good stuff. If nothing else, in Habit 3, because the beginning of Habit 3 teaches us how to, a little bit about value prioritization and that kind of stuff. But the meat of this self-management stuff is in the quadrants. If you begin to look, and the cool thing is when you start to look at the quadrants, pretty soon you'll start to live your life visualizing. Just like with your disc profile, all right, you're going to see somebody and you're going to picture the disc profile, right, as you're talking to them and say, hey there, I'm talking to a D. Get it out now, bam, 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 there it is, right? And so that kind of stuff, these visualization techniques really help, as you begin to sit there and talk about living in quadrant 2, focusing on the things that are important but not urgent. Or Or better yet, some of the stuff we need to get done, the important and urgent has to get done, but don't forget, don't push out quadrant 2, which is paying for the insurance policy, all right, for the sake of other so-called things that you should, you know what I mean, especially for the lower stuff, that stuff that's not important, that we tend to, I mean, me personally, I tend to, you know, they're funner a lot of times to deal with, the non-important stuff, all right? It's never fun to do the important things, all right? So let's come back to Danielle real quick on, I think you're going to learn that, well, first of all, remember at the very beginning, the first session, when we talked about why 20% of the people make all the money in real estate? Okay? It's because they have learned the skills and the techniques that we're teaching here, quite frankly, that everybody, the person that sells 2 houses a year is going to forget to do the home inspection until the last minute. If they don't have a system in place, they just don't, it's just not who they, you know, they that's the way they roll. And sometimes you have to deal and work through with them and just deal with the fact because you want to represent your client and get it done. So sometimes you do feel like you're scrambling around putting out fires for other people, all right? And that is part of it, unfortunately.
Broad spectrum. It's either really, really urgent agents that you're working with, or ones that don't answer their phone or recognize contract dates, times, and like.
Yeah, I'm a big, people love to say, well, you know, I remember one time I had a huge argument with the guy that he's like, well, you know what, my client was really busy, so yeah, we're 3 days late on the home inspection. I said, yeah, and that's, you know, so he's like, you know, so what are you going to do? You not allow us to do it? I said, why do we put the date on there? Why is there a blank there for us to fill in a date? If we're not going to abide by the dates, then why even have them? Why have a contract? Let's just see if we can show up to closing and we still agree, right? You know, 45 days from now, I hope everybody still gets along, right? Let's just figure out then, and just, you know, we'll just start an auction. Yeah, you give me 185, and 186, no, 185.5. You know, no, we have a contract because it's a contract.
Well, the one that really makes me mad is when you're putting in an offer and you give them, like, you know, 48 hours.
Time for acceptance.
Amount of time,
right.
Not respond to me in 5 minutes. And then they're like, oh, you just don't hear from them. And I'm like, okay, well, to me, the point of that is to ensure that you don't go the whole weekend doing more showings and you just want to see what the highest offer you can get is. You know, that's not doing my client justice. I want to know, you know, I've given you a reasonable amount of time. That makes me mad, but I won't go there.
Well, and it should make you mad because that's why you put it on. That's the only leverage you have as a buyer's agent is the threat of your buyer walking in, and you're only obligated to this offer for X amount of. Quick 2-minute piece of advice. Back in the day, all right, when I was representing all these buyers and I wanted to get them locked in, a lot of them I was working with had bond money and all this down payment assistance that we had to have things under contract by a certain time, midnight, because if not, it came available at 12:01 and we had to reserve our money because it disappeared, right? And it's the only way I can get this deal closed is to have this money. So that led me to, and again, I know everybody would look at you like you have 3 heads if you did this now, but I say there's no reason why we can't attempt to change their paradigm. I presented 70% of my offers in person with the seller there, all right, and the listing agent there.
Just at that point in time, or that was?
I'd say we're going to write the offer. Hey, you know, I got an offer for you. Great. At the time, fax it. I know you know what that word means, but fax it over to me. All right. I'd say, hey, you know what? I'm on a short time frame here, and we got to get this thing locked up. I'd love to present this offer to your, you know, and that's why you'll notice on, I don't know if you looked at our paperwork or not, but on our listing paperwork, it says seller authorizes or does not authorize buyer's agent to be present. All right, at time of offers, or buyer's agent to present offers in person to seller, and seller can say, no, I don't want that. The reason we have that, because if they told me no, I say, hey, can you go ahead and fax me over, all right, in writing where your seller has said they don't want me there? You know what I mean? And they couldn't do it. And so I'd say, you know, I'd really, you know, my job is to represent my client, and I really want to present their best case to your seller. It won't take me 10 minutes. Seriously. Here's the thing. I would do it. It might be awkward, all right, but you know how many homes I sold in multiple offer situations because I sold my people to Mrs. Jones, All right, remember that Coast Guard couple I brought in here yesterday, Mrs. Jones? And I specifically said Coast Guard because I saw that she had a picture of her now late husband in his military World War II uniform. Okay, absolutely. And I walk out, and I especially because I was trying to write offers where closing costs were being paid, and I'm not going to rely on the listing agent to present my people in the best light, right? I remember specifically, I'd walk out the door and they'd say, okay, well, we need to think about it. I'd say, great, you know what? There's Dunkin' Donuts around the corner. I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. I'll be back in 20. And they're like, what? I said, look, I've got 2 other offers already pre-signed by my buyer because we have to be in contract tonight. All right? So if it's not this one, I'm moving on. I got another appointment, all right? I told them I'd keep them posted. They chose yours first, but here, let's see what we can do. All right? Real? I said, my offer's, you know what? And I would write then, okay, my offer's good until 7:05, 7:30 tonight. All right, and I'll be back. And people say, well, that's ballsy, right? And I'd say, yeah, well, guess what? I sold a lot of homes. I'd walk out the door, and the listing agent's like, with a signed contract, and he said, I got a $3,000 higher net offer on the table right now. All right, and she knows about it, but she told me she wanted to sign yours. I said, why? He says, because they were a Coast Guard family and her husband, my job is to represent my client and do the best I can. I know you're going to get laughed at. You're going to get sold. You're not going to be able to do 70%. I get that because a lot of times they get absentee owners and everything else. But you just got to say, hey, look, I got to do my job to represent my client, man, and I got to do everything I can to try and get this done because if not, we've got to move on. I can't delay 48 hours waiting for you to get back to me because when 48 hours, now the other 2 houses we looked at are under contract.
And that's happening.
I know, and so I got to get this, you know what? And good agents will appreciate it. Bad agents say, screw you, all right? If they got 18 other offers, that's fine, but then, you know what? I think they're doing their client a disservice because I'd say, hey, look, I'm going to take 10 minutes. I'm in, I'm out. All right? If they're not in town, we're not going to fly to New York to go present the offer in person. I get that. All right, but I did everything I could, right? What's that?
Right on.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Want to get your Cherry?
I do the same thing, but I do it before I go look at the house a lot of times.
Yep.
I will call the listing agent and say, before I go look at the house, I want to find out, is your seller local? How quick can we get an answer back? Are they computer savvy? Do they know how to use a computer? Will they use email? My buyers are only in town for 3 days. We want to get something under contract today so we can get inspections done and get moving, and then I have that conversation before I schedule the showing. So that way I have it ahead of time. And I also have the conversation, I see you're doing that minus $250 MLS junk fee. I don't charge other agents. I only ask other people to treat me with the same respect, treat me the way I want to be treated. I don't do the minus fee. Will you please waive that for me? Because you can look at all my listings. I don't do the minus fee. So I have that conversation before I show my buyers about, first of all, is the seller local? Are they computer savvy? Do they use email? Can they get us a response quick? And then I negotiate that minus fee.
And which you, by the way, just full disclosure, you can do before first substantive showing. It's unethical per the Board of Realtors MLS agreements for us to try and negotiate commission differences at time of offer. Okay? Because then at that point you're deemed you're trying to hold people hostage.
Because you're already aware of it.
Because you're already aware of it, and they don't want you using it. Well, I know you're only offering 2%, all right, but I want 3%. You can't do that at the time of offer because now it becomes contentious between the listing agent and the, you know what I mean? And so they don't like that. But if you did it on the front side, hey, and by the way, and then at that point, that's great. I'm glad you're going to waive the $250. Can you do me a quick favor? I'm going to shoot you a quick email confirming that. Just reply back, yes, I'm on board with that. So you have something in writing, because they have real convenient amnesia. We talked about, I saw a lot of houses, Sherry. I forgot. If we had that discussion, I certainly don't remember it. All right, which they certainly do.
And you get it in writing.
Yeah,
obviously.
So you have that, right, and then you confirm that. So, but that's the time you do it. Yeah, because, I get it. And all you can do is be pushy, and at the end of the day, a lot of agents, Jim, they call us all the time, hey, I put this offer in, right, and I can't get an answer out of these people. And your answer is, guess what? Your offer's dead. If you killed it at 5 o'clock on Tuesday and it's 5:01, you're no longer obligated to that offer. Well, what other leverage do I have? None. right? Other than you can request, hey, look, I'd like to see that my offer was presented, and can you at least get me a rejection from the seller? Even if they're not going to counter, can you at least get me a signed rejection? Seller, that's why there are boxes there. Seller rejects this offer. I just want buyers confused and doesn't even think our offer was presented.
I think I would request that all of the time.
Yeah.
Because I don't trust people.
You shouldn't. And you absolutely shouldn't. Because 80% of realtors out there are not doing what they're supposed to do. All right? They're not taking their job seriously. And you got to remember, too, guys, we make good money. We make really good money for what we do. I'm just telling you. A dose of reality, go serve for a while, right? And see how long it takes you to make an $8,000 commission.
Can you rephrase that? Making really money here, not.
Yeah, right, exactly. Well, but even if yeah, right. What you choose to give your broker is entirely up to you. All right.
I think the math on these two.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be making. I don't know, can I say that?
Sure, absolutely.
6,000 here.
Yep.
At Keller Williams, I would have been making 2,500 on these 2 deals.
2 deals. All right, we'll put
Because
that.
it's
That's a recruiting video. That's a recruiting video coming on right there. That's.
Wait, I gotta get the lighting right.
Let's reshoot that. Yeah.
That's why I say I was making a lot of
Slowly
money
turn it up.
here, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's so true. But the key is because of that. Jeanette and I we're looking at selling our home up in Tennessee and buying a new place, right? It amazes us all the time, how even up there, poorly the agents they do a terrible job. And in everything up there is, you can't find homes under 700,000, right? It's just like, the average sale price is insane. And I'm looking and going, and these people are they do a terrible job with they don't do any virtual tours, because we're trying to find, they're doing a terrible job. You know how easy it is to really be, I was never a big listing agent, right? I was always a buyer's agent. But guess what? I created this thing, I discovered this thing called Animoto. Write this down. Animoto. It's like $230, and you can use it for your kid's second birthday party too, and make a really killer presentation. All right? All it is a souped-up slideshow. But what I do is I drop photos, because we're listing our own home, right? Drop photos in, and you can insert text, you can insert video, all right, up to like 8-second little, shot clips, and then it creates this really, with music and everything else, it's a killer, and unlimited for $289 a year, all right? And like I said, we did Joseph's 8th birthday and all sorts of great stuff that you do with this, and you kind of just create these fun memory things. And all you're doing, it's simple, it's all these tiles, right? You guys seen the recruiting video on joinfhr.com? All right, if you go to joinfhr.com, there's a recruiting video there, right? Has agent testimonials, and Jim and I are dropped in and out of there, text flying in. Animoto, all right? The first recruiting video we did, it cost us $1,000 an hour of studio time, or whatever it was, to recruit, and Jim and I shot this at Philippi Park, right, for $289 for the year. Just, Jim and I just shooting it back and forth, and I was grabbing agents whenever I could, and it's really cool. And it make a really, and then you know what I did? All right, I haven't said we are not on the market yet, because Jeanette, we still getting this last bit of work done. All right, but I went out and got for $9.99 at GoDaddy the domain 9187foxrun.com. Okay, so for an extra $10, I'm going way above and beyond. Okay, and I have my own, and so that's all I'm going to put at the bottom of the sign is www.9187foxrun.com. That's our address. Okay, and boom, it's going to be a link right to the virtual tour. It's going to tell everything they need about it, which is the Animoto. All right, everything. So, but I'm looking at these people aren't doing anything, and the average commission is $21,000.
Is it because they don't have to? I mean, I don't get it.
I don't get it either. I really don't. I mean, because they obviously, people have become, what's the word? Conditioned. All right, to accept. The consumer has been conditioned to expect less. Right. And so I think it's just wide open for somebody that ever wants to jump in there and just knock it out. It's like, holy smokes, you could really just blow things away. It's just It just never ceases to amaze. And so, you know what we're doing? The house we're looking to buy is a total fixer-upper, but it's in the 05. All right, that's the zip code. All right, it's the last, so it's in the right zip code, okay? And so total, it's like South Tampa, right? $600,000 for this place that really probably ended up tearing down. All right, but it's because it's in the 05, right? So, but you know where we found it? It's on Zillow as a for sale by owner. This dude is the best realtor I've ever seen. He's not a realtor. He is. He said, "Oh, no problem. Can't show you. I got tenants in there till the end of March." All right, but here's the survey. Here's the floor plan, and here are some elevations because everybody's adding second stories onto these old 1950s built homes. Right? You can do a second story because he knows what everybody's going to want. I just want you to be prepared. If you haven't looked in the 05 before, all right, I hope you're not looking for granite countertops and fully loaded things because it's almost land value is what you're doing, but the base is there and you can do it, and that's why we're doing it. But the guy's better than any other realtor. Call the other realtor and they're like, "Oh, no, you don't have that, don't have that, don't have that, don't have that." He's giving everything we need. We haven't seen the house and I'm making an offer today. Wow. Because I know it's going to be hot and, and we're going to make an offer without having seen the home because I've seen the home. He has some pictures. I've seen the floor plan. I've seen the survey. I've seen elevations of potentials, things that I could do with the second story. I know it's doable. It's everything I need. Also make it contingent on a home inspection, of course. So if I get in there, the place is, we have to adjust that. But still, I'm going to try and beat the guy to the punch. All right, and before he even shows it to anybody else, and get a jump on there. So I don't know. It's just go above and beyond. Okay, do that little extra. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is that little extra, right? Okay, it's all it takes, man. You can differentiate yourself so easily. And Animoto is just a fun thing to play with, by the way. It's real easy. But trust me, Jim, speak to this. If I can do it, it's pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You will confirm that. All right. That it's very simple. And the cool thing is that you can just drop different slides in, move it around, and you create a new one, and it's all changed. Or if things want to drop a different text in there, you just create the text and slide the tile in and say recreate, and boom, it's done. It's pretty amazing how they go. All right, so self-management, we talked about fourth generations. It's all about discipline. Betsy hit the nail on the head. All right, it's that concept that we talked about, that the self-discipline allows you to begin with the end in mind, which means you're going to take each day and look at that with the overall principle-centeredness in mind as we go. Cool? All right, we know all our commitments. You guys are doing this every day. I can see you guys in the gym. I can just see you having to get up and not last all the way through here because you've already got 32 ounces of water done, so you can't even make it through a 2-hour session because your bladder's calling you. All right? The exercise, the nonprofits, which is awesome. And I know you are doing other things. That's great. I mean, I just tell you, there's so much value in that. All right, when you give of yourself, donating 10% of your time, worshiping once a week. All right, all this requires that there's that D word again, discipline and accountability. I'm proud of you for being here, by the way. It was a different day. It was a unique time. Different. We shifted days on you, and you guys still remembered. That's impressive. All right. I have really low expectations. You guys did it. You made it here. You followed directions. All right, aren't you guys? But compared to the other agents who don't, all right, you guys are way ahead. All right, so it's going to make a change. All right, so here's what we're going to do. 5 more power notes. I'm just telling you. All right, 5 power notes we got 2 weeks from yesterday will be our next meeting. 2 weeks from yesterday will be our next meeting. And again, it will be at the Oldsmar Hampton Inn on Tampa Road. Okay, because this room's not available. They're too busy doing GRI. GRI is a great thing, but trust me, come to this instead of GRI. It doesn't cost as much. What's that? Graduate Realtor Institute or something. What's it?
Graduate of Realtor Institute.
Good information. There's nothing wrong with GRI. I just think that, it's a little more old school concepts, how to farm and do some of this stuff, but they're starting to freshen it up. So it's a designation. The only designation I ever had, I said, don't give me the designation behind my name, give me the $sign in front of my bank account. Give me more digits in my bank account, and you can keep the designations all you want. All right. What's that?
You have to do all 3 to get the real.
To get the real designation, 1, 2, and 3? Yeah. Yeah. which,
Each
yeah, so it's 3 weeks worth of class.
15
Yeah.
days to get those 3 little letters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. All right, so have a one-on-one with somebody. Take them out to coffee, all right? And remember the 4 steps? Basically frog them, all right? Find out a need, leave with an action plan, follow up with a power note, okay? So if you need to do 5 power notes, if you have one-on-one, one of your power notes is already done because you're going to follow up with a power note, all right? You got it? Continue the 4 rituals. Start to live that way, all right? Remember our assignment was to do that once once each week, all right? To do the pre-leave, the pre-sleep, the morning ritual, and the Sunday night ritual, all right? Here's another book we're going to read, okay? I'm going to add to your reading list.
I was going to ask you how that guy liked it.
Yeah. I saw him today. He did. He finished these. He was pretty amazed, all right?
So,
I got my bananas.
when we get through with all this and I'm successful and I make $1 million,
Yep.
I'm going to write a book on how to do all this crap with 2 kids.
See, very good. That's perfect. Love to hear it. That's awesome.
Not crap. I didn't mean that.
Well, I understand it is. It's a lot to do, all right? And that's going to take a lot of self-management.
Pre-leave. Get
Okay.
your Cheerios ready the night before.
And the subtitle needs to be, and stay happily married.
There you go. Right. Exactly. That's it. Exactly. I love that. All right, Fred Fact, you're going to love this. This is just about customer service. All right, it's above and beyond. You can pick up the audio version at the library probably if you're more of an audio disc kind of person. Download it, get it on your Kindle, Nook, whatever you do. It's a pretty easy read, and it just takes you to the story. It's a really cool book. All right, it's about going above and beyond. We're going to study Habit 4, so read Habit 4. We're starting to get into public victory now. Habits 4, 5, and 6 are going to take us there. Continue to abide by the commitments that we talked about. Upcoming meeting dates are 4/8. Did I say that right? Is that 4/8? 6, 7, yep. 4/8. I put an asterisk because remember it's at the Hampton Inn. And early bird meeting, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. before that one. And the night before, if you want to do the night before, it'll be a 6 to 7. We'll be speaking the language of investors. All right, come how to do that. We're going to send out an invite to all realtors to come to that as well. So sometimes we have a lot of people that come to that then don't stick around for 100K, and that's cool. All right, but it's another opportunity for us to teach that. Do we still have that video for that intro?
Yep.
Perfect. All right, good deal. Perfect. The invite. I think we did a quick, check and see if we have that still. Okay, good. All right, good. Because we'll probably want to send that out to the masses.
Yes, right now.
All right, yep. So 9 a.m., 10 a.m., and I think that's it. Any questions for me? Danielle?
If anybody has 100K ones, they could do that first. I just have kind of a general question.
Okay, if everybody else, it's more of a general question.
Are we going to talk about any of the chapters in here also?
Yes. Continue on. Probably the next 2 chapters we'll try and cover in Michael's book. I would always be kind of re-referencing back to that. Start talking. There are things that you want to start implementing because there's the reticular activation system, the guaranteed response email. We're going to start covering that kind of stuff. There's some stuff that you want to read ahead and start implementing. It's good stuff to start utilizing. Communication plan, sphere of spectrum of solutions, the SOS. We're going to kind of start to cover that in the last couple of weeks. Good deal. Good question.
I was going to say we have those classes also.
Those are, we have some souped up versions that Brian Heckman taught. We called them Implement Now, right? Because we did it last summer after the first 100K. So, okay, now how are we going to, let's dig down deeper into this and do it. So they're on our YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay. They're on the YouTube channel. Cool. Very good. Any other questions before I take care of Danielle's questions? If not, reach out to us, anything you need. Conference call on Friday. And if not, I'll see you in a couple weeks. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Gold star, everybody.